Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your annual numerology predictions with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. So as you have seen from the last 3 years, I put these out. These predictions have been, as you guys call them, pretty spot on. And I'm hoping to deliver even more accuracy as each year passes. So I just want to say thank you so much for all of your comments and the way that you guys check in. It really does mean a lot throughout the year. So without further ado, let's get into 2024, which is a universal 8-year, and what it might mean for all of us and what it might mean for you. So a universal 8-year is very much about the grounded, practical essence of life. One of the taglines for the number 8 is I accumulate. This is a number of growth, abundance, prosperity, acquisition, power, control, structure, organization. This is the number 4 taken to like a whole new spiritually infused level. This is what I like to call divine fortune. So this is this is like all in all. It's an all in or all out number. There's no half-assed business about the number 8, and for that reason you have to be in it to get the goods or to extract the great stuff out of it. Now, in terms of the blessings that it might bring us, this is a year that can provide and will be along the lines of, but not necessarily limited to, helping you boss up, helping you level up. This enables you to make and execute big plans, taking things to that next level. For that, 8 is the number of the CEO after all. Now, in terms of manifesting as well, this is really about, doing the work and meeting the work with what we like to call aligned action, right? So this is, if you've been with me long enough, you know I am all about the woo-woo. I love the woo-woo, but we keep our feet on the ground. Here in the Radiant Nation, we understand that doing the energy work, doing the intention setting, all of that absolutely has a big part to play, but we also take massive action, and that is ultimately how manifesting truly works, right? You head off in the direction, working towards the thing that it is that you're trying to create or to manifest in your life, and then you let the work that you've done on the spiritual and the internal level take over. So this is a great year for manifesting if you are about that work, right? Now, in terms of the overall energy, it's going to be a busy year. This is going to be a high turnover year in all senses of that word. It's going to make us all tough by bringing resilience, right? There are going to be tests this year. That's life, unfortunately, but it doesn't mean that it's going to hold you back. This is a year for tenacity. It's going to make you tenacious, right? This is a year you don't lay down and take it lying down. You get in, you get proactive. This is a year to hold to your guns, the things that you want, the things that you desire, the things that you need. This is about being tenacious in your pursuit, ruthless even, and we're going to talk about that, ruthless in your pursuit of the things that you want. This is the year for you to take the skills that you have and the knowledge that you have and apply them. This is about application of skill, knowledge, and it's also about focus. These are just just skimming a few of the blessings that this year can bring us. Now, in terms of the challenges or the lessons of this year, ruthlessness, as I was saying, we all know that the business world can be dog eat dog. It can be a dangerous dog eat dog world. It can be, and it really can, like the energy, because it is the number of power and structure and orderliness and all the rest of it, and it is the number of business, finance, money, resources. It absolutely can be an energy that brings a ruthlessness. It can bring out the materialistic side of people as well, right? And the thing is, we're probably, as we move forward, certainly towards the end of the decade, where things will really start to truly regulate themselves in line with spiritual accordance, we're going to see the divide between the haves and the have-nots get much bigger, right? This year though, whereas 2023 was the year that people were hiding their wealth and, keeping it squirreled away and making it appear that they were all about the people and stuff, 2024, we're going to see massive ostentatious displays and expressions of wealth that will quite frankly come across as just like condescending, demeaning, and materialistic. And that is unfortunately one of the challenges of that 8 energy. So be mindful that you don't get caught up in that. It can make us somewhat frivolous. So that's another thing to watch out for. argumentative, because 8 is about the power and power struggles and the power dynamics of the world. You're going to see people really start to get into that kind of stuff. So just be mindful and don't allow yourself to become one of them. Now, in terms of the final challenge that this might, and it's not the only, these are not the only challenges that will be presented with through 8 energy, but you'll see as we go forward and explore. Obsession, right? Well, this is a year to get obsessed. Now, this one is basically both a blessing and a lesson. It's a blessing in terms of this being a really wonderful energy that allows you to get focused, to get you like, you know, like that healthy obsession where you eat, sleep something, like eat and sleep something and you just go after it because you love it and you feel like this is what I'm passionate about. This can make you obsessed in that way, or it can make you obsessed in sort of like the really challenging way that nobody really likes, if we're completely honest. So these are all things to keep as considerations. Now, historical 8 years are 2015, 2006, 1997, 1988, and 1979. All of these were universal numerological 8 years, and they all seem to carry characteristics of corrections, which means some instability that is going to be followed by an economic upturn and movement and change that is driven forward. Some great things are going to come out of this year, and I really believe that the engineering feats that we see pulled off this year are going to be amazing. They're also going to sound the alarm that make people realize that there is in fact a lot of money around. You just need to be really well positioned to access it, and that's a thing, right? We can see on the wider world stage that, you know, they've done a very good tangent. They've done a very good job of convincing us that resources are scarce, and, you know, and it's not. They've just driven the prices up. That's all that's happened. It's not that the price of things has actually gone up. They've driven them up. And the sad part about it is a very small amount of people in the world right now are holding all the wealth. Whatever's left is given to the people. So we can see that divide between the haves and have-nots is quite big at the moment. But it's like I say, it's not because there isn't enough money or everything to go round. It's just, you know, it creates FUD, right? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Uncertainty and doubt, right? That's the FUD. That's what it creates, and that's why it's come about effectively. Now, 8 energy, tangent over, soapbox moment over. 8 energy is superpower energy, and so it stands to reason and research that the supercomputers that come forth, and as well as will be like super viruses, right? And I'm really sorry to say that, but it's true. In 1988, we have the AIDS HIV crisis. Huge thing that I'm, you know, quite sort of when I say passionate, I'm passionate because it affected a community that I'm a part of. And, you know, that was a big deal. Luckily, lessons have been learned and big strides have been taken, you know, by science and fortunately / unfortunately big pharma. You know, they've taken steps, right? Things have improved for people that have AIDS or HIV. That's a wonderful thing, but there is still more work to go. Look at everything that's going on in Africa, right? Progress has been made, but there's more progress to be made. Now, in 1997, we have bird flu. In 2006, we have that same thing come up, and it filtered all the way through 2007 as well. You know, and then it went on throughout that time as well, right up to and including, I think it was like 2008, 2009. There was still sort of like a big hoo-ha about this. In all of these years, we also had a lot of concern over environmental issues, which I do find interesting because in 1988's 8 year, try saying that fast when you're drunk, was also a year that Jupiter was in Taurus. Now, as we know, Jupiter is going to be in Taurus for the first 5 months, basically, of 2024. So I found that really interesting when I saw it. Now, a year when there was a lot of, again, in economic instability, but there was also cultural and artistic growth, cementing some things into the Hall of Fame. I do predict that there will be a few things this year that are created in terms of art, in terms of culture, in terms of engineering, in terms of infrastructures that will absolutely stand the test of time. It also saw a lot of technological advancements, and let's just say the world's infrastructures are about to get a much needed boost, and this is great. So historically, messages around, and actually before I go into this, I wanted to mention something else. For those of you that are young people and you're just going into university and you're thinking, you know, I don't really know what to study or what to do with my life, engineering is a space. Watch and see what comes out of that space over the next 5 to 10 years. If you have children and you're trying to help them figure out what they want to do with their lives, any form of engineering starting from this year of 2024 is going to be huge, right? We're going to see massive advancements in this space, and for that reason they're going to be lucrative sectors. The great conjunction that took place between Jupiter and Saturn took place at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign of the future, it's the sign of technology, it's the sign of the new and the avant-garde, right? And that great conjunction happening at 0 degrees of Aquarius heralded a 200-year cycle that come in, where it's no longer going to be about your wealth, what you've got, what you were born into, you know, the flashy clothes that you wear or how pretty you are. It's going to be about your ideas, the advancements that you create for humanity as a whole, how you, your ideas and your intellectual property drive humanity forward as a race. That's going to be the space where the celebrities really come from moving forward. So if you are a young person trying to figure it out, or if you're a parent trying to help their kids figure it out, engineering is the space, right? And you've got engineers of all kinds, everything from agricultural engineering right the way through to cybernetics. The field is immense, right? So don't think it just has to be in one way. Now, sorry, another side tangent. Historical messages around large events and certain awful atrocities taking place during them. This, I gotta be honest with you, it makes me feel somewhat uneasy about the Paris Olympics. I'm really sorry to say that, and I hope I'm not putting this energy out there, but I look at the energies, I look at the cycles, I look at the patterns, I do the research, and unfortunately this is one of them. If you are attending or have plans to attend the Paris Olympics, please be careful, be mindful, look after yourself, look after others. Now, the number 8 is practical, grounded, earthy, and powerful. 8 is the number of power, control, organization, structure, and organization. And it's the number of the CEO. 8 is the number of the boss, the corporate company, the order, the hierarchy. It's the number that has a lot of consideration for and on what we consider the material or tangible or real world, right? It's no less... the material world is no more real than the spiritual or the internal, but it's what we can see, touch, taste, smell, etc. And it's what, you know, a lot of people are kind of locked into. This number, as I understand it, is ruled by both Jupiter and Saturn. It's ruled by Jupiter in terms of the growth and expansion, the integrity that comes from that energy as well. It speaks to kings and heads of departments, those Zeus-like kings and queens and, you know, celebrities, etc. Those who are in charge of and are among the upper echelons of power. That is Jupiterian energy for sure. The number 8 also represents and resonates to the same frequency as Saturn. Rules, regulation, power, structure, routine, karma, retribution. 8 is the number of legal matters of all kinds, and therefore power struggles and control. The number 8 is also the energy of the Mobius veil or the infinity symbol. It's karmic, it's spiritual, tangible, material. It speaks to the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. You can see that in the shape, and interestingly enough, it also speaks to the power of what rises from the depths out into the light, the energy of eternity, physics and nature, and the nature of reality are all things that are linked to this number. Now, in terms of 7, 2023 was the year of, was a 7 year. It was the year of rebranding, renaming, changing things up, making them look somewhat different. It was the work that was done behind the scenes based on the numbers, the statistics, and looking at all kind of like the unsexy stuff, right? Whereas the universal 8 year is all about the business merger. This is where we are going to see the becoming of the next corporate superpowers. We will probably see actually oligarchs emerging, new oligarchs emerging. My money is on Facebook and X. We are definitely going to see the pairing up of some of these larger companies, because that creates a greater market reach, it creates greater market cornering, and it creates greater market power, not to mention money. All right, so commercial activity and production is absolutely going to spike this year, and there will be more available funds floating around. Maybe not necessarily because there is, but because things start to regulate a bit more. Business and finance sector are going to be very much in the public eye. The economy will begin to settle somewhat, but in order for that to happen, a correction is likely. Now, likely, and it's probably not going to be in the way that people are expecting, right? When I say a correction, people are expecting this. There will be instability in the markets, absolutely. There's no getting around that. But it's not going to be this absolute crash and burn that everybody's expecting, to be completely honest with you. What is a correction after all? It's a leveling off, an easing, so that like growth, or positive growth rather than negative growth, can set in once more. Now, this year, we are going to see a powerful set of new laws and regulations set forth. I have no doubt this happens every year, but this year it's going to be around technology, software, specifically around apps and financial matters. So, payments online, all of that kind of stuff, big regulations, new things coming in. There will also be advances in technology, and particularly algorithmic matters, and advancements when it comes to engineering. I can't stress this enough. We really are now entering the quantum era, and the digital revolution is absolutely underway, right? It really has begun. This is the year where we'll be kicking things off that were only once in movies. Just wait, right? This is the year that starts the process of ushering in back to the future type technologies and stuff. We're going to see this across the board in terms of transportation, in terms of movement, in terms of how we live, where we live. We're going to see massive advancements. And the interesting thing about it, when I was talking about the apps and technology and money and finances, I think there's going to be a lot of regulation on how we access our money, who can access it, what that means. There's going to be a whole bunch of this stuff. But yeah, there's going to also be some great engineering feats that are reached this year, and also, like I said, the ushering in of some really what seems to be very advanced. Like, we're already seeing this now, but with the advent of ChatGPT and all the rest of it, financial matters, the finance sector, more digital money and currencies will be released. Cryptocurrency is definitely going to explode, but it's likely that it's not going to be the coins that everyone expects. I know everyone's probably sitting there thinking, yeah, Bitcoin, going to go in for that. I don't think it's going to be that. I really don't. I think it's going to be other cryptocurrencies that either come up or are out there but are not very used at the moment. And this is why I say, keep your eye on that digital finance sphere. Keep your ear to the ground. Pay attention to the news articles and the stuff that people don't really usually look at. Pay attention to who's got lawsuits going on, who's leaving what people have got to say about the asset itself. Pay attention, because that's going to really speak to a lot of what's coming up. And in terms of things like the stock market, I will say this: yes, there's going to be some amazing but also some scary things that happen with this, the with the stock market. Be vigilant and diligent, especially in following your moguls. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But one thing that I will say to you, put your money into the infrastructure. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you financial advice or medical advice or any of that stuff. I'm just telling you what I see in the energies, the patterns, the rhythms, the cycles, and the tides of energy that are available to us. You guys have told me time and time again how many things in these videos I've smacked like right on the head. I'm just doing what I do, and hopefully, hopefully I'm right. But I will say, in terms of following your financial moguls, be very mindful, because some of them are going to get it very wrong this year. All right, like usually they're quite close, or they get it quite good and all the rest of it, but this year some of them are going to be very, very wrong, and that's potentially going to wreak havoc on a lot of people. These sectors, therefore, will be getting a lot of new rules and regulations, and probably in response to the fact that so many people lose out on money because they were trusting and following certain gurus, etc. So just be mindful of that. Now, there's probably going to be new organizations that spring up around these things and around technology. Technology and our financial system, and potentially our food system, will start to really mesh this year. You're going to see that really start to take hold, especially with the advent of all of this AI stuff. It's huge right now, right? And the interesting thing about that for me, ChatGPT and all of these AI programs and stuff, they've been around for years, right? They've been used by the technocrats and all of the people that were above the rest of us peasants. It's just now being given to us to kind of lay the foundations to say, wait for the advancements that are coming. 90% of what we call the labor force will be done by the end of the decade, I would say. All right, like we're going to see some massive advancements, and what this means is this quantum era really has begun, because when we don't have to worry so much about the stuff on the ground, and it really just does itself, and it's there and it's instant and it's still pretty good quality, we start to then look much further afield at what else we can do. All right, so really, really interesting stuff. Like, what I do also predict is that there's likely to be many lawsuits filed and settled around these arenas, and we're going to see some big names ousted, potentially like whole banking groups. I don't say that lightly either. The Universal 7 year, that was 2023, revealed many secrets. Well, now the Universal 8 year, that is 2024, is going to see those secrets being pinned on people. And now that they're uncovered, these people are going to be held accountable. Accountability is a huge part of 8 energy, so watch out for everything that you do, okay? Now, in terms of governments and governmental sort of policies and stuff, big governmental plans, big ambitious governmental plans are going to be enacted or initiated this year. States and oligarchs and the like will absolutely set into action or motion things that they have been building or working towards for quite some time. Whether they take hold or not depends really on one thing largely, and that's we the people, okay? Which leads me very nicely to another point. Power. The number 8 is the one that is attributed to power and control. And power, when held by one or very few, is a corrupting force. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's a quote from Lord Acton, who was a British politician. So those who are in power will see their power consolidated if they are in integrity. If they are not, they will be tried, judged, and removed. 8 does not fuck around, right? It's a very much that kind of energy. Whereas 7 energy mirrored people's stuff back at them, which is why a lot of people had quite a hard time in the 7 year that was 2023. There's no getting around the truth with the 8 energy, and that is, ultimately integrity is what matters. The power of, your integrity and your heart and your intention is what matters. Now, some people don't want to hear that certain people are taking a dip or a dive, and that's because, because they dislike to hear that version of the truth. And it will be the same in other regards as well. Like, if you see somebody taking a fall from grace, the chances are there's something about that person that they've done or have not done that meant they were out of their integrity. Whether you like them or not, the 8 energy doesn't give a shit. Are you doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it? That's what 8 cares about. The truth is rarely as clear cut as we sort of think it is. But, you know, especially when most people think that the news is telling them everything that they need to know. This year, many new businesses will be forged and started and launched, and it's really an ideal year to do so. So we saw obviously the 7 year that had gone past. A lot of businesses were dissolved. A lot of businesses went through the administration, dissolution. This is the opposite energy to that. We're going to see a lot of forging of new businesses. There's more of everything, materially speaking, and to access as well, right? Access is going to be a thing. It will be a lot more even keeled. What I like a lot about this is everyone has a more even chance of success. And I think that's a really important thing. What you need to do in terms of an 8 year in order to launch a business and be successful, or to make your business successful in an 8 year, a solid plan, good support structures, the right connections, all of these things are going to make a huge, huge difference, right? This is about doing things properly. There's no getting around the Saturnian nature of the number 8. And it's not just that, it's almost like, why have and like in terms of the explanation, it being ruled by Saturn and Jupiter, there's an expansiveness in this number that's nothing like Saturn, right? The way to see this is that Jupiter provides the vision, the eccentricism, and we need a level of eccentricism in order to achieve something big, right? Those people that have achieved huge, massive things in their lives, when you speak to them, they're all a little bit, I don't want to say unhinged, because that's not fair, because I'm pretty crazy myself. Like, Raf be cray, okay? Like, I'm just going to put that out there. Like, you guys have been with me long enough, you know this. You've heard me cackle, right? When someone laughs like I do, you know there's a bit of a manic person inside. There we go, right? That one just kind of escaped out of me. My cheeks are going red now. Right, but when you speak to these people that have achieved really big things, they all do have a level of eccentricism about them, right? That growth, that reach, and the integrity, Jupiter provide, and then Saturn will provide the structure, the organization, the rules, and the weight for the dream to come into the real world. If you can tap into both of these energies and channel them simultaneously, you will absolutely win, plain and simple. But remember the Saturnian karmic energy. Jupiter is integrity and the law, which means if you fuck around on their watch with the 8 energy, you will very likely find out, and probably very quickly as well, because it cycles back to you. Heed the warnings, don't heed the warnings, it's all up to you. We're all on a journey of learning. You got to make your own choices and mistakes, etc. It is what it is, right? Now, side note, for those of you that are spell slingers or energy workers of any kind, be very, very careful this year. Last year, energy work, spell work, magic, all the rest of it was rife. Because 8 has a cyclic energy that returns to you and amplifies everything that it touches, and I'm going to talk about that amplification in a moment, it's a very important point. Be very careful this year, because the past workings that you've wrought will find their way back to you, and what you put out this year will naturally amplify, which leads me to another side tangent, right? You need to ensure that you are an effective but fair manager of people, places, energies, and resources. Now, with the resources part, this is very, very important, so pay attention. 8 energy will naturally amplify everything that it touches, which means, and I want everyone in the Reydiant Nation, you wonderful people out there, you know, I want you to win. I don't care whether you have a reading with me, whether you do energy work with me, that's wonderful. Even if you don't and you only ever support me on my channel, if you're a part of the Reydiant Nation, I want you to win. I want you to succeed in whatever your endeavors are. And I mean that from the depths of who I am, right? I say this seriously now because 8 energy will amplify everything that it touches. This year, you are not allowed, I'm telling you right now, I'm laying this boundary for you. You are not allowed to default on any of your bills. You do not miss a payment this year. Why? Because you're going to start a domino effect and it will just cascade. I don't want that for any of you. When it comes to your bank account, your savings account, your checking account, whatever account you've got, that is never allowed to hit the number 0. Do you understand me? This year, you cannot have any of your accounts look like a 0. Why? Because the 8 energy will amplify that. What's 0 amplified by 8? 0, right? So it's really, really important that you don't do. The only thing that you're allowed to have at 0 in terms of monetary stuff is your credit card balance. We can do that, right? Now, I know a lot of you are now probably thrown into panic, like, shit, what about my mortgage, Raf? I can't pay that off. No, but you don't ever miss a payment, right? You do whatever you have to do, even if that means shaking it on the pole, baby. Listen, I'll be right there, right there next to you if I need to be, right? Jokes aside, you never miss a payment. And that is a really strong piece of advice that I have to give all of you this year, okay? Now, whether it's at work, whether it's in love, whether it's in friendship, be a clear communicator. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Be in that integrity and it will always come back to you. The business world is going to increase its productions as well, as I said earlier, but so will the machinations of the corporate world and the corporate machine, okay? So don't be surprised if there are corrections and instability created by this, especially out of the right out of the gate. So like the first 3 months, I think we're going to see a bulk of it, and then dotted throughout the year there will be other moments, but not probably as heavy as the first start of the year. The corrections are the karmic pendulum swinging. Be ready, right? There will be a lot of restructuring, a lot of reorganization, a lot of reorientation. I predict that many businesses will relocate and change their locations this year. Last year was about dissolution. This year is about forging, creating foundations, building skyscrapers, both personally, professionally, and even physically, okay? Matters of home, housing, location will all feature. I think we're definitely going to see some interesting things happen with the housing sector this year. There will be a dip for a portion of the time, but then it's going to continue to go back up, right? Don't look for the kind of crash that everybody's talking about and the crash is coming, the crash is coming. It's probably not in the way that we understand the previous ones, okay? And if it is coming, it won't be this year as we understand it. Again, I might be saying a mea culpa by the end of the year. This is just what I've observed, what I feel, with the trends that are coming up. If you haven't got the year aheads, those will give you plenty of heads up. There's lots of little bits of information dotted in and around of that, and obviously the new year, new frequency as well. Look out for that. Trust me, you are going to want it, baby. You are going to need it. I have designed it with all of you amazing souls in mind. So keep your ear to the ground for that one. Now, the other thing in terms of housing as well, locations. Some locations that are really pricey now are going to dip. Some locations that are really cheap now are going to skyrocket. You're going to see some really weird stuff happen in that regard, but it creates all of these things effectively are to create a much smoother experience for everybody on the ground. This is it's like an all-in effort to create cohesion of some kind. Now, an 8-year is known for its material, financial prosperity making ability. So if you're having a personal year 8 and you're in a year 8, honey, listen, if you ain't making money this year, there's something wrong with you, okay? You need to check whether you've got a pulse, because you've got a double up of this energy. I jest, but I also don't jest. It's also known to produce engineering feats, as I said, that are just absolutely wowing and awe-inspiring. Challenges and warnings aside, I really do feel that this will be a year of progression. advancement, movement. I really feel that this will be, like I said, just like a really amazing year in a lot of ways. And I kind of feel, you know, yes, it's known for, like I said, it's material financial progression, but it will be a year of, like I said, progression, advancement, movement. There will be access to more resources for everyone. There's going to be some really clever inventions and machinations and machines set forward. The reaping of our rewards for our hard work, right? And to get an idea of what is showing up for you and what, where, who, why, and all of that jazz, look back to 2020. What were you working on at that time? What were the foundations that were being laid? Like, really think about this. Yes, your personal year number vibration will count for a lot, but what were the foundations that you were laying? Because whatever you were working really diligently on at that time, you're going to start to see the results now. You're going to start to see the setting and defining of those, the boundaries of where you kind of accept that you just had to do to kind of keep showing up. And it's almost like you're now seeing the rewards and the results of the hard efforts. Now you're going to start to see what you set forward, what you were really building at that time when you just kept showing up, even though you weren't even sure if anybody acknowledged, whether anybody was watching, whatever the case might be. That's where your rewards are going to come from this year. This is where you're going to see the fruits of your labor, right? 8 is a very fruitful energy. It really, really is. It's, you know, when you see things on the tree and they're ripe and juicy and you just want to bite it, right? I told you, I'm a little eccentric myself, so big love to you, all of you 8 people out there that are watching. That's not to say that new things aren't favored. They absolutely are. As I've said earlier, lots of new things forged this year stand a much greater chance of success than ever before. But this is where you get to realize and find out that it all had a purpose, that every challenge, every heartache, every moment of that you had provided, you know, what you needed. 4 provides the foundation. 8 provides the materials to build the empire or the skyscraper. This is going to be a great year for many of us, and I really can't wait to see where it goes. Keep it grounded, keep it practical, ask the hard questions, do things the right way, stay in your integrity, and make sure that you deal with people fairly. There's a karmic element to the number 8, be mindful. Doing all of this, working a solid plan, being structured and organized and committed to achieving your best by giving your best, by showing up your best, by pouring the best of you out into the world, that will very much be about how you get ahead. This is also going to be about the resources of the world, what we have access to. On another level, 8 energy is very much about organization, as I've said previously. This is a year, if ever there were a year, right? This is a year to get your shit together. And I say that out of all love, care, and courtesy. No slacking. If your home, your house, your yard, your garden, your office, your car, whatever it may be, is a mess, you are going to know about it. A clean space is reflective of a clean heart, a clean mind, and a clean soul. Having the material version of this will allow you to have that presence within you. And that will lead me to actually a very important point. 8 is the number, the energy, as I was saying earlier, right at the beginning, as above, so below. This energy is about as within, so without, right? And so your space is going to be a big reflection of the space within you. So make sure it's clean and clear. What's the plan? Get organized, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, even digitally. Optimization is what I'm talking about here in a nutshell. Optimize everything, all right? And with that said, let's see what it brings. With that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic 2024. Come back to this video time and time again. Let me know what shows up in your personal life, on the wider world stage. I love it when you do, because to me those massive validations mean so much, and it also shows us that the oracle that is numerology and the vibrations that it speaks about are accurate. It's not really about me, it's about the messages that I'm delivering on behalf of the universal construct. So come back to this, let us know what you see, what shows up, all the rest of it. I can't wait to see how many of these things hit home this year. I'm really, really excited for all of us. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care, and I will see you soon.